Hi, it's Michelle from Honest and Truly, and this week I have a video recipe, part of a series that is sponsored by Mom Central and the Beef Checkoff Council. So when I have a whole bunch of people coming on over to my house for dinner, I like to make something that's a little bit special, but at the same time isn't too expensive and is something that they're not going to be eating every day. So I love to make an Asian beef, and I like to do a kind of steak and marinate it. And when I do it, I like to use a top sirloin because it's a pretty lean cut of meat, and I can use this much meat. That's, for me, it's about $7.50 a pound here in Chicago, and this beef is maybe 2 pounds of beef, and that will serve 8 people easily with some leftovers. So, you know, not so bad for 8 people. The way you do it is you're going to marinate it, and then after you grill it, you're going to let it rest, and then slice it thinly and serve it with rice and some vegetables, and you have a whole meal that stretches your meat a little bit further, but tastes amazing. So the first thing I do is to create my marinade, and I put it into a container that I'm going to marinate my meat in. And it's really easy. I'm going to use a bunch of Asian spices and flavors with it. I like to use a rice vinegar for a little bit of acidity. So I put in maybe 2 tablespoons of the rice vinegar. I'm also going to add just a little bit of fish sauce. So this is one of those things that a little bit goes a long way, but at the same time, it adds so much flavor to it. It does have fish, so if you have anyone who's coming over with an allergy to fish, make sure you don't use that one. But that really, you need at most about a teaspoon, maybe even a little bit less for the 2 pounds of meat that I'm making. I'm also going to go ahead, and I've got some Asian soy sauce that's a little bit sweeter than regular soy sauce, but go ahead and use your regular soy sauce. You're going to use about 1/4 cup of that, maybe 1/3 cup. And if you don't have the sweeter soy sauce, go ahead and use your regular soy sauce, that'll work. You can also add just a tiny bit of sugar if you want to, but not necessary whatsoever. And then I'm going to add my sweet seasoning sauce. This is something that you can probably pick up in your grocery store. It adds, again, just a little bit more hint of flavor to it that I really like. So I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons of that. And then I have 2 cloves of garlic that I have already kind of minced. All I'm going to do is just go ahead and add those on in, because I want to give it just, again, a little extra flavor as I'm marinating it. And then I'm going to finish it up with oil. I like to use oil that is the grapeseed oil because it's got a really high smoke point, but go ahead, use whatever oil you've got in your kitchen, and I'm going to use, again, about 1/4 cup of that. Once I have this, it really mixes together quickly, easily. You don't have to worry about doing anything else. I'm just going to take my meat, put my meat into my marinade, and then once it's in the marinade, I'm going to rotate it so that I'm making sure it's completely covered. And you can see it really doesn't take a whole lot of marinade to use for your entire dish. Again, you want to make sure it's covered and coated. I'm going to actually turn my meat a couple times while it's marinating. I'm going to let it marinate for maybe 4 or 5 hours. I could actually make this overnight and then cook it the day of. And that's one of the things I like too, because it means that I have less work that I have to do when I'm actually making my meal for my friends who are coming over to eat with me. With this, they're covered, they're in here, it's easily done. I'm going to stick this in the fridge. I'm going to pull it out and let it sit for maybe 20 minutes before I cook it, just to bring the beef up to temperature a little bit more, because that will allow your meat to cook on the inside at temperature a little bit more even, rather than cooking cold meat directly on your grill. So grill it till it's the right temperature that you want. I like mine about medium rare. Then you let it sit for 5 minutes, and then you're going to pull it off and let it rest. Slice it thinly on the bias against the grain, and then go ahead and serve it over rice and enjoy.